Onvo, the sub-brand for NIO, it looks like came in with 1,300 on the insurance registration side of things. That's for the week of November 18th through the 24th. Now, honestly, I'm not really worried about these numbers. These don't come from NIO. We're going to get the monthly data from NIO in about a week. And so that's what I'm really looking forward to. And I'm curious what we'll see for Onvo as the slow ramp continues. On that note, I wanted to pull this from the earnings call. This is from the most recent, the third quarter earnings call. And this is the key element as to why Onvo hasn't ramped faster. It was the supply chain. And William Li said right here, now we are ramping up our supply chain capacity. NIO's monthly production capacity, this is for Onvo, is expected to hit 10,000 units in December and 20,000 units by March. Besides that, on December 1st, NIO's third brand, the second sub-brand officially named Firefly, will make a global debut on NIO Day 2024. So that's in December. We'll get that announcement. The ET9 is coming out in 2025. A lot of positive things ahead for NIO. But let's move over to the premium brand, the NIO brand, because 4,000 is the number that we got for this week from November 18th through the 24th. Again, this isn't coming from NIO, so I always kind of look ahead and I'm curious what the breakdown is going to end up being. For example, if we see 20,000, 23,000 vehicles delivered for November, what the breakdown of Onvo versus NIO is, and that sort of thing. But here is kind of big picture overview, what matters to me. Also from the third quarter earnings call, William Li said that NIO maintained its position as the top selling brand, and this is for BEV, battery electric vehicles, in China's passenger vehicle segmented price above 300,000 RMB, with its market share reaching 48%. However, these are the folks they're looking to take more market share from. So with NIO at roughly a 4,000 number versus BMW, Mercedes, and Audi all having about twice, no, three times really the number on the weekly side of things that NIO is doing, there is a lot more market share that NIO can still take in the future. And I believe that is part of the reasoning behind why William Li was talking about in the second quarter earnings that the long-term big picture goal for NIO just with the premium brand is 40,000 monthly deliveries. I don't know when we see that. It would be great if they can get to where they, in the short term, are doing 20,000 on average monthly. And then, of course, first quarter, we'll see what happens depending on when Chinese New Year falls. I haven't looked into that yet. I wanted to go back to the second quarter and share this because for those who might not know, this was William Li talking about the expansion into the UAE. And so he said, we are accelerating the international expansion. On August 20th, NIO's UAE website went live, and in quarter four, the products will be launched and delivered in the UAE. So that's one of the things that's going to be happening as well in this fourth quarter. I'm curious how that ends up playing out. Obviously, the UAE doesn't have the huge number of sales that China does, but I'm curious how they're going to like the products, vehicles like the ET9 or Onvo. How are they going to sell? I'm really curious how that plays out. Finally, I'm going to need to take more time and do a proper deep dive, and it's going to take a lot of time. So that's why I'm just briefly going to touch right here at the end of this video on the FTDs and why these three spikes in this year of 2024 caught my attention, why I think they matter and are a part of the negative stock price action that we've seen. Let me explain why I'm thinking this. This was over 5 million shares that couldn't be located. There could have been naked shorting that were reported on a single day. This was over 6 million. This was almost 5 million. Those are the three biggest spikes on the FTD side of things that we have seen since all the way back here in 2020. It was early 2020 and late 2019. And that was before NIO stock made its big run. But as you see, those FTD numbers dropped off quite a bit. And certainly during the time that NIO stock absolutely made its meteoric rise. And in about 6 months, it went from $3.50 to $55. That was in this time frame here. A few things were going on, though. You had momentum on the side of NIO and NIO stock. You had a lot of trade volume, hundreds of millions of shares being traded over the course of many days. And so you've got momentum, you've got sentiment, you've got all those things aligning, the big trade volume. And then at the same time, you have the FTDs drop off. And so that's why I have it on the ticker at the bottom of the screen for short-term stock price action. I do think those things all matter. Now, if you look at where the FTDs started picking up, there's actually another data point that I want to talk about, but I'll have to do it in the longer video because it's just going to take a lot of time for me to get everything together and record that and get it out. But if you just note the way that price comes down, it took about 3 years for the NIO stock price to come back down from about $45 to sub $4, which is the lowest we've seen it in several years. But at the same time, you had all these elevated FTDs. You had much lower trade volume. For example, I'm recording this after the market has closed today, and we still haven't seen 70 million shares traded. It doesn't look like for today. So, with that in mind, much lower trade volume, sentiment, at least questionable, if not negative. The momentum, not on the side of NIO stock. FTDs elevated. I think all these things matter. And I do think there are some positives that will offset and perhaps even change things significantly in the short term. But I also want to highlight that and go a lot more in depth in that video. I just wanted to get a few points out there so that I would kind of buy myself some time to do that longer video. But also for those who are wondering, and I get it, I see people, I think they're frustrated with the price action being negative on days like today and this sort of thing. And so I wanted to offer that because for me, it's always about continuing to research and study and learn and observe and be as objective as I can. This is me just trying to offer some, I hope, logical reasoning and a few things that I've been tracking along the way that seem to be pretty powerful indicators. And that's exactly why I'll keep them and the ticker at the bottom of the screen on screen so that people can kind of hopefully have more awareness and sort of track these things along with me. Anyway, have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see y'all again very soon.